Now let's have another edition of COVID Theatre. This is where we call out the games, the media games, the presentation, the performance in and around what you hear all day, every day about the bloody Rona. Now, I called this last night on this show. It's one of the many reasons you should be here every night, right? I'll tell you the play before it happens. I've seen this game before. But what happens is that when a lockdown is unpopular, and once the data becomes really clear that there's no need for the lockdown, government starts saying, ladies and gentlemen, we have a plan to announce a plan. And our plan to announce the plan will be announced, we hope, tomorrow. That's the COVID theatre happening in New South Wales right now, where the plan for a plan will be apparently announced tomorrow.
We've been having various discussions with health experts and others in the last few days, and that will continue throughout today and into the early evening.
Oh, I wonder what they're going to do. I wonder what they're going to do. The data is obvious. This lockdown, firstly, never should have happened, and secondly, should have been over by now. But the theatre continues because this swallows up an entire day of news coverage. You know this in Victoria, when, regardless of whether it was a really long or really short lockdown, on the Monday, we're thinking about this. On the Tuesday, we might have something for you later in the week. On Wednesday, we're getting closer than ever to a plan. On Thursday, despite the fact that we were getting closer to a plan, there's been a surge in insert data. Friday, nothing happens.
I hope to be able to communicate to the community tomorrow on what next week looks like.
Okay, here's one thing that next week absolutely has to look like, Premier. Kids have to go back to school, okay? Epidemiologists will tell you this. Education experts will tell you this. I don't care what the teachers' union thinks. All schools back on Monday, or if it's a professional development day, Tuesday, okay? All schools in the whole state. If there's any COVID problems in a specific class, in a specific school, then okay, shut it down for 24 hours, clean it and move on. But every kid must be back in school next week because the data is something that you cannot deny. Meantime, again, the numbers that no one else will tell you. These are the numbers that the 6 p.m. news will not tell you about what's happening right now in New South Wales. 32,000 people had a test. As always, these are the people who felt sick, know someone who was sick, went somewhere where somebody who thought or felt that they were sick, or maybe just wanted an extra day off work, which is pointless in a lockdown. 32,000 people, a football stadium of people. Just 18 people ended up having COVID in the past 24 hours. That's 0.05%. Now, that number has not grown in terms of the speed of the disease. It's that the number of people being tested is starting to peter out because the number of people who think they're anywhere near Rona after a lockdown is starting to peter out. So what about the actual number of active cases right now? Surely that's the reason the lockdown must continue. Well, of course not. 330 active cases in New South Wales. Remember that number. Just 26 people are in hospital. 6 of them are in ICU. But of the 330 cases, before you think, geez, Paul, that's a lot, mate. That's a lot and they're everywhere and we've just got to wait for everyone to get over the virus, get back to zero and we can move on. Again, let me show you the numbers. If you just went off the raw numbers of where cases are all over Sydney, this graph might freak you out because it is the local government areas where the 330 cases currently exist. Waverley in the east, which is next door to Randwick, that's basically got 100 cases. In the southwest, you've got Canterbury, Bankstown and Liverpool, between them about 50 cases. The centre of Sydney has 24 and all the way down to 10 and then all the way down to single figures. But here's the deal. Just 20 of the 330 cases are not linked to other cases. Put simply, health officials have been able to work out that of the thousands of places people went and the tens of thousands of people who have been tested and the hundreds of people who have coronavirus, that just 20 cases in the entire city of 6 million people, they can't quite link to work out where they got coronavirus from. Yet we're going through the theatre right now. So remember that graph I just showed you before of all those different local government areas? Well, have a look when you look at the unknown source list. A lot less scary. In Cumberland and Canterbury Bankstown, it's 4 and 5, 4 in Waverley, 3 in Fairfield and Liverpool, 1 in Strathfield, Sydney, Wallara. So here's the deal. Is COVID everywhere in Sydney? No. The testing has proved that Delta strain hasn't ripped through the community like they freaked out about. Not a single person has died in Australia all year of coronavirus. Not one. And there's about half a dozen people in ICU right now. I hope all of them get better. But locking down 6 million people, dangling a carrot of their basic freedoms, having an open question about whether kids go back to school or not, needless, cruel, and COVID theatre. Meantime, when it comes to the vaccinations, a rather big day in the past 24 hours with 146,000 people getting the jab. Total now, 8.4 million people, which is kind of a lot of people in a country of just 26 million people, but it won't stop Albo from banging on about the one thing that makes him mildly relevant.
This government has gone from being complacent last year in saying we're at the front of the queue for vaccines to actually being incompetent. It comes down to that.
Okay, so interestingly today, far left-leaning poll in the Turnbull Times actually told us the real reason why people have not been racing to get that vaccine, why the Hunger Games, that means there's enough vaccine left over for rich kids at a private school, are able to get to the vaccination and other people have to wait in a very long queue. Have a look at this. Just 23% of people want to get the vaccine but can't get an appointment for the vaccine. 15% of people are where an awful lot of Australians are. Oh, yeah, I'm busy, I'll get to it eventually. 34% of people are saying that they are waiting to see how other people react to the vaccine. So let's all do the maths together, okay? 49% of people in Australia either can't be asked, are too busy, or are going to wait. Yet all day, every day, the media, vaccine rollout. It's too slow. It's ScoMo's fault. It's not our fault. It's the states. The truth is, for the majority of Australians who have an opinion about this, they're going to wait. Or they're too busy, mate. Because I've got other stuff to do. Fair enough. Your call.